Hello, everyone, and welcome to Making a Difference from Patient Care to Medical Device Security. I'm Cindy Carter with Checkpoint Software Technologies, and I'm a field CISO for the Americas. Before we begin, a little bit about me that you won't find on LinkedIn. Born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, with an ice rink on every corner. As a young girl, I trained 6 hours a day as an Olympic hopeful. When that dream did not become a reality, I set my sights on college, and with my mother in nursing school and my father working at IBM, I've been influenced by healthcare and technology my whole life. So I started as pre-med, and then looking at 8 years or so of medical school debt, I decided to go ahead and go the IT route. And the focus isn't about my career progression on the right, it's about the image that you see here. As someone, again, who has been influenced heavily by healthcare and IT, as well as cybersecurity her whole life, it really, for me, is about making a difference. And when you look at page 6, or depending on the print version you have, of the CISSP book, it says that the number one goal of cybersecurity is human safety. And I can't think of anywhere more important than in healthcare, IT, and medical device security. So our agenda here is pretty simple and straightforward. 3 things in the 20 minutes that I have with you. So first and foremost is why. I always start my presentations with helping to establish the why. This provides the perspective, and in this case, why is medical device security important? Secondly, we're going to talk a little bit more about the what, or the scope of what makes a medical device susceptible to a cyber attack. And then finally, how are we going to address this challenge? And dare I say, I'm going to bring up people, process, and technology. We'll start with why. Devices are critical by nature. They're life-saving, life-supporting, and they transmit sensitive information. These devices are accessed regularly by medical staff, by malicious insiders, and also perhaps by a compromised user account. And finally, they are connected everywhere, not just within the 4 walls of the hospital, but also in patients' homes or in other clinical practices. And finally, it's personal. And at the intersection of healthcare and IT, we have an incredible opportunity and responsibility to uphold patient care and safety along with cybersecurity. Only reasons why medical device security is important. Federal fines and class action lawsuits that result from a medical device compromise that leads to a security breach, or worse yet, the malfunction of a medical device itself leading to a life-threatening situation. And because transmitting sensitive data carries risks, connected medical device security is essential. And here's this dichotomy, right? We keep it private and we share it with everyone. Now we'll discuss what makes a medical device vulnerable. Our discussion is about the Internet of Things, or IoT, the connected devices, and in this case, the smart devices that can perform almost human-like functions, from light bulbs to thermostats to door locks and appliances in your home. Consumers have eagerly adopted the smart devices that are based on common technologies. IoMT, or Internet of Medical Things, is a subset of IoT. And there are different classifications of medical devices. Some are implanted and some are more at the surface. But they're all comprised of hardware, software, and network connectivity, of course. Medical devices are a fundamental component of health systems. Their benefits increase as they are essential to prevent, treat, diagnose, and rehabilitate illnesses and diseases in a safe and effective way. What makes a medical device vulnerable? Well, they're not secure by design. Many medical devices were engineered under the assumption that they would not be exposed to security threats, and therefore security during the design process wasn't seen as a top priority. And while the Food and Drug Administration is making strides to work with manufacturers on building security into their devices, in order to enable security updates to occur. It's going to take time for those capabilities to evolve. And next, medical devices were built on a very standard hardware and software configuration, unlike their PC counterparts, which may have different hardware and software setup. Medical devices are produced in mass, thousands or even millions of devices at the same time, which have the exact same hardware and software setup. Well, that means that a successful attack on one of these devices could sprawl and be repeated across all of them. They also may have unnecessary open ports, weak passwords, insufficient logging mechanisms, and the list goes on. But these things were built to last. These are long-living devices, which, believe it or not, they're deployed for maybe even 10 to 20 years, far more than the average lifespan of a PC. And so even if security was taken into consideration when the device was built, it's difficult to protect against security threats decades into the future. But this durability, of course, then makes them difficult to patch. After deployment, they will typically run only on the factory installed software, and any change could potentially render that device malfunctioning. So it must be done in careful consultation with the manufacturer. As I said at the start of this presentation, we, the collective healthcare, IT, and security industry, have an incredible responsibility and opportunity to solve the challenges for IoMT security. As with any other type of security implementation, IoMT security is a journey. As attackers evolve their malicious techniques, technologies and best practices shift and transform as well. To keep IoMT devices safe, it takes people, process, and technology, and knowledge regarding emerging IoMT threats, patches, technologies, and training to succeed. And on the people side, we have a shared responsibility to take care of the staff as well as they take care of their patients. Educating healthcare professionals on safe cybersecurity practices is key, enabling them to focus on delivering optimal clinical outcomes instead of trying to locate misplaced equipment, dealing with the frustration of equipment failures or even malfunctions, or worrying about their protection. Medical device manufacturers, IT, and security professionals must align with healthcare staff to put the proper systems in place to help remove these obstacles and create a culture of secure from the start, making for a more protected and productive staff and earning their trust. Process side of the house, when it comes to software use in healthcare IT, especially medical device software, building security into instead of bolting it on later is critical to minimize risks, stabilize processes, and improve product safety. One example is my favorite, DevSecOps, or Secure Software Development Lifecycle. And this comes into play with medical device product development in order to create devices that are safe, that have repeatable outcomes, and prevent potential data breaches. Checkpoint enables DevSecOps, incorporating security and compliance into how applications are built and deployed. Teams can not only test, but can also enforce security policies and prevent threats during the development process. Other process considerations include least privileged access and a strong identity and access management practice. And now onto the technology part. IoMT cybersecurity and privacy ranges from the devices themselves, as we've discussed, to the application software. And it's also in the communication networks, cloud infrastructure, and those services as well. And the steps that are outlined here are meant to be a guide, and they can be achieved with Checkpoint's Quantum IoT Protect. Quantum IoT Protect is a multi-layered Generation 5 cybersecurity platform technology that provides end-to-end cybersecurity for all enforcement points, whether they're physical or cloud, mobile, smart devices, sensors, laptops, tablets, and other endpoint devices. Quantum IoT Protect extends these Generation 5 cybersecurity protections all the way to the IoMT device. First is IoT discovery and risk analysis, which identifies any IoT or IoMT device on the network and assesses its risk. You cannot protect what you cannot see. Visibility is a key component for any IoMT security solution. We need that visibility in order to understand what is connected and more importantly, how it is connected. Once you have that visibility, you can then enforce security policies on these devices and protect them. Next, we have network segmentation. With the understanding of your IoT, IoMT environment, you will then be able to provide proper network segmentation. You can then enforce zero trust policies to prevent unauthorized access to and from the IoMT devices, as well as lateral movement. And finally, IoT threat prevention. You can block known and zero-day attacks with virtual patching and have real-time IoT threat intelligence that's shared among 100 million different endpoints, gateways, and IoT devices worldwide. It's been a pleasure to share with you Making a Difference from Patient Care to Medical Device Security. Here are some references for you for the work that I covered. And I'd like to thank the Healthcare and Pharma Summit for having Checkpoint and me speak with you today. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you, everyone.